Hi, 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 hi. So excited to share with you today. Oh my God. I thought that I will talk today about the story of joy, my story of joy, because it is so resonant with many other people. When I have published my book, From Russia to Joy, A Journey of Spiritual Awakening, 2 years ago now, I had people who read this book and said, "This is me." Even though I have not been born in Russia, I have a different cultural background, but I can resonate so much. And so today I want to share three things. The first one is about the secret formula for life. The second one is being connected to your body. And the last one is healing and transformation. So let me begin with just very briefly sharing some of my beginning of the journey of how I even heard the word joy, which was not a part of my normal and regular everyday vocabulary. I think it was about 7 years ago. I was on a tenure track university professor line, and I was overworked, quite tired, divorced, depressed. I was struggling to manage my health, mental and physical health, and had lots of questions about life. At that time, I was already meditating and I was already exploring a little bit the spiritual path. But because my mind was so strong, it was more of a dipping my toes into the water and getting a tiny bit wet, but not really going fully in. Because I came and I come from the scientific background, I have a PhD in research and statistical methods and how those methods apply to our behavior change. I could understand from the scientific perspective of how meditation might change the way we think and also how our brain functions, including the different parts of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision making. And whenever we're not in a fight or flight response, or whenever we're not in a reactive state, we can make better choices. And from that perspective, I could understand that, yes, meditation is important. And I was trying to engage in meditation in this practice on a daily basis. And my life, little by little, started shifting, but at the same time, it was a very slow and gradual process. So fast forward, about 7 years ago, I came across a metaphysical school because I wanted to develop my intuition and make my intuition stronger. And this is where I started not just dipping my toes, but kind of went bucket over my head with water into a completely different way of experiencing life and reality, which involves a spiritual understanding that we are a soul on a journey rather than a human struggling through life. Yes, we do have our bodies, we have all the biological processes that govern our brain, but there are also larger spiritual laws that are responsible for what happens in our life. And we're not necessarily victims of lives. We have lots of choices, and the way to apply those spiritual principles is to, of course, learn about them and then learn how to listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, and listen to your guidance, which you do receive if you're open and ready and practicing these tools on a daily basis. So, and this is really the first topic, is that we tend as humans to look for the solutions outside of ourselves, trying to find a secret formula for life, which says, okay, if I do this, this is going to work for sure. And here's the thing, we often stray away from feeling connected to our purpose or feeling in our joy because we're looking for answers outside of ourselves. Gosh, I understand if you're there, because I've been there many, many times, and sometimes even now, having been on the spiritual path for a good amount of years now. I mean, I started about a decade ago and then really dove in deeper about 7 years ago with lots of studies and practices. And I have to say that even now, sometimes when I go into a new territory, for example, building my business, or so like especially around business, because I did not in the past have a business background, so I still tended to outsource lots of decision making to people outside of myself. So there is no magic formula in life, and everyone has a unique path. Everyone has their unique way of creating things that bring them joy, of recovering from maybe some childhood patterns and trauma. And this makes it sometimes confusing, but also encouraging. And this is really the message that I want to leave you with on the first topic, is that the fact that there's no secret formula to life outside of the large metaphysical laws is that we really have a lot of choice. You have a lot of choice in terms of your decision making. And connected to that, your body, your connection to your body is one of these tools which helps you to navigate through life by being able to feel things and make choices. So our body is amazing. It's incredible. It does carry trauma from the past, and for that reason, healing the past trauma is absolutely necessary, whatever method and tools you choose. And our body is capable of sensing things. It might not always tell you why you're feeling specific things. It might not have the words for your experience, but we have an internal barometer around what feels good and what does not feel good. So highly sensitive people, they know about themselves, that they sense things and they can say, okay, this feels good, this does not feel good. And more people become aware that they have this capacity to sense things, whether they call themselves highly sensitive or not. More people actually become highly sensitive because they become aware of their spiritual essence. Because whenever you go through the process of awakening, you become more sensitive, you become more aware, more self-aware, more aware of the environment and the energy that is around you. And because of that, your senses are heightened, and that helps you to feel things, that also helps you to make choices. So, and what I mean by embodiment is actually being able to stay connected to your body and have a daily practice of connecting to your body, cleansing your body, taking care of your body, because your body is a precious vessel through which your soul experiences life, experiences things. And self-care, self-understanding, self-awareness connected to the body is very, very, very important for navigating life and making choices. And finally, that brings me to the last point that I wanted to make today, and that is the need for healing. A part of our bodies is storing past memories, and this is, one of the examples when we might not feel good in a specific situation because we're not fully present, but we are being triggered, or something from our past is being triggered because we're exposed to a particular situation. I'll give you an example. It might have to do with emotions. Let's say you're in a situation and you don't necessarily like a situation and you are getting angry in the situation. So in the past, if you were raised in a household where you did not necessarily familiarize yourself with the emotion of anger, and if you haven't normalized the emotion of anger for yourself, you might have a tendency to suppress anger. Anger is a very informative emotion. It might tell you, as a compass that is inside of you, it might tell you, okay, this is probably not the best scenario for me. This is not the best outcome for me. And that might have little to do with the objectivity of the situation, or with the, with the other person involved. Without judgment, it might not be a good fit for you personally, for whatever reasons. And some people, when they suppress emotions, they go into different ways of behaving about it. So because they are not okay with the emotion of anger, they might eat extra food, or they might drink alcohol to kind of dissociate a little bit, and to lessen the experience of the emotion, because it's an uncomfortable emotion. It's uncomfortable. And some people might go and get lost in social media or in TV watching. I mean, really, you can use so many different ways or different behaviors to dissociate. But when you're present, and especially if you understand that a part of your experience is to be able to feel emotions, not necessarily act on them. If you're angry, you don't need to destroy things or damage something. But when you experience an emotion such as anger, or for that matter, any other emotion, it is telling you so many things. It might point you in a direction of a limiting belief you hold about yourself or the world. It might tell you to get away from danger, or from this particular situation. It might be an opportunity for you to lean into the uncomfortable and be present and actually heal. And this is something that happened, for instance, with me very recently, in the context of the adjustment of the law around abortion. I felt a lot of anger. And this anger was triggered because I felt in some way not good enough about myself. I felt that some of my choices were being criticized. I felt that some of my decisions that I've made in life somehow were not good enough. And this external judgment somehow determined my value, or how I should feel about myself. So it has taken me a bit of time, and I'm a healer. I have lots of experience in healing, so that helped me to actually identify that it has little to do with the objective changes in the world, which I really have little control over at this point, but it really has to do more with myself and how I feel about myself. And it has helped me to actually accept myself on a much deeper level, be okay with myself on a much deeper level, and actually not engage or make the small choices that I wanted to make to support, to express my opinion, or to support a particular viewpoint. But outside of that, let go of the reaction, because when we are in a reactive state, we cannot create the life we want for ourselves. So the interesting part of all of this is that all of this is related to joy. All of it is connected to how you feel and how you experience joy, because we are inherently different people. We are a part of a bigger puzzle, but what brings joy to me is not always what brings joy to you. And this differences, this amazing diversity of humans that live on this planet, is incredible and is worth to be celebrated, is worth to be enjoyed and engaged with. And what I want to finish with is where I am right now. So, because this joy practice, which is a practice, it's a practice of cultivating joy, letting go of the doctrines, letting go of the formulas for life, embodying and taking care of your body, healing, transforming, choosing the thoughts you think, and choosing the daily practices that you hold and how you create your life. It has really transformed me in a very unique way, because I feel that it's a, you know, a lot of decisions that I had to make, they were a little bit unexpected and maybe non-traditional, which is, you know, something that each one of us has to make as we go through life, in our work, in our business, in our relationships, and parenting, and relationships with people. So this is something that we go about every single day. And it's a continuous process of unfolding and creating the life that you really dream about. And the life that I dream about, the life that is amazing, and feels so juicy and wonderful and celebratory for me. And I feel so grateful for this kind of life that I do have now. I want to leave you with a few points, and that is investing in learning about yourself and leaving time for self-care, self-healing, self-celebration, embodiment practices, and anything that helps you to connect with self-love and loving yourself, because joy and self-love are inherently interlinked very, very strongly. So if you take a few moments, and I would even recommend taking a few hours a day or a week to dedicate to yourself, you will begin to see how your life changes and transforms for the better. So cheers to that. Cheers to that. This is non-alcoholic beverage, by the way. Fermented. It's fermented papaya. No, fermented pineapple juice. Oh, Mexicans love it. So yummy. So cheers to that. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them below. I will love to address them in the future sharings. Also, subscribe to my newsletter that I'm sending out every Tuesday to your inbox, and you can do it on my site, on my website. And finally, if you wish to experience some of the juicy programs I run online, you're welcome to go to my website and check out my current offerings. Wishing you a blessed day and a blessed week. Lots of love.